I know it seems like I never talk about Lyft when it comes to ride sharing because I never really do. They don't really do anything newsworthy. Until now. CES 2020 in Las Vegas has been a goldmine of new information when it comes to transportation. Now, for those that don't know what the CES convention is, CES is an annual trade show organized by the Consumer Technology Association. Held in January at the Las Vegas Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, United States, the event typically hosts presentations of new products and technologies in the consumer electronics industry. Now, one of the big topics at CES 2020, second only to Impossible Meet, is a lifestyle heavily centered around autonomous tech. So if you've been following my whole breadcrumb trail here, you'll know why this is exciting. Lyft rolled out several self-driving cars for the event. Now, granted, they weren't totally autonomous, but that means that the tech is closer there. What does that mean? Drivers will probably get employee status, but not in the way that they envisioned. How far down the pipe? We don't know. But we can take a look at these advances and get a good idea of what might be coming around the corner. Let's take a look at the article so that we can be on the same page. What it's like to ride in a self-driving Lyft by Matthew De Silva, Las Vegas, January 9th, 2020. At CES, the Consumer Electronics Trade Show in Las Vegas this week, I hit the jackpot, getting picked up in a self-driving Lyft. A few days ago, when I arrived in the city and opened the Lyft app, I was presented with the option to travel in one of its autonomous cars powered by Aptiv. Lyft has been testing these vehicles in Las Vegas since early 2018, and they've received an average rating of 4.95 out of 5 stars. To date, Lyft has provided more than 75,000 self-driving rides in the city. Seriously guys, I don't know why this kind of information isn't really big out in the rideshare community, because this is very concerning if you somehow keep thinking that they're going to roll back the clock and give you more and more benefits. It definitely looks like they're quietly rolling out your replacement. But with hundreds, if not thousands of regular drivers on the app, scoring a robotic ride was far from certain during my short time here. Nonetheless, I opted in, and much to my surprise, on my 5th ride, I was paired with a self-driving BMW 5401. To be clear, it wasn't completely autonomous. As I clambered into the car, I was greeted by 2 humans. Latoya, a backup driver, and Steven, a vehicle operator in the front passenger seat. He was there to explain the car's features and address any concerns I had. In my excitement, I forgot to buckle up, and Steven gently reminded me to strap in for the ride. I took the middle seat because it had the best view of the self-driving display. It's great that they have these 2 employees there currently. However, remember, Lyft has partnered with Waymo, and they've been pushing out vehicles that don't feature any safety driver. Steven explained that through Aptiv's LiDAR, light detection and ranging, as well as radar, the car generated its route and navigated around the city. On my ride from Bally's to the Park MGM, Latoya drove the car manually while on private property, i.e. hotel driveways. But on the streets, she released her grip on the steering wheel and the car took over. To tell you the truth, I was a little scared. I couldn't help but think of the poor woman, Elaine Herzberg, who was killed by a self-driving Uber in Arizona a couple years ago. Plus, it's simply disconcerting to be in a car where the driver is not holding the wheel. A few moments stood out during my 11-minute, 1.37-mile ride. First, the car was cautious. As we pulled into the left turn lane at a traffic light, it waited patiently for traffic to pull forward. Although the Beamer could have squeezed through a small gap, the algorithm is a much more conservative driver than I would be. When people realize that these things are geared to have a cushion of safety, what do you think they're going to think about this tech? At the light, the car made a wide turn and I thought we might end up in the wrong lane, but we were fine. As we approached the Park MGM, Steven explained that they'd have to switch to manual mode once again because construction work had altered the road. To my relief, Latoya took the wheel in her hands, and 1 block later, the ride was over. This wasn't a media-sponsored test ride. It was just me and the Lyft in the wild. At the end of my ride, I gave Steven and Latoya 5 stars for their service and I ran along. After my first ride in a self-driving car, I can say with confidence I'd do it again. You'd probably have to ease me into a fully autonomous version without any operators. For the most part, the ride was smooth and it allayed many of my fears. I'm not 100% comfortable with self-driving cars yet, but I'll definitely consider them with a more open mind. Aptiv did not immediately respond to an email inquiry about how many cars it's powering on Lyft's Las Vegas network. And of course they didn't. There's lots of NDAs out there floating around. You can't really talk about this tech, whether you're developing it or whether you're helping test it. So what does this mean? This man is proof that if you can get people to feel comfortable around this technology, they're definitely going to adopt it. And if these people start to feel like they're getting a safer ride from these driverless vehicles, what's to stop them from setting their preference to nothing but self-driving or totally autonomous vehicles in the future? It's a really interesting scenario, and it doesn't really look like it's a scenario that would play out well for the average rideshare driver. This is exactly why I keep saying that it seems like for a company to make this make sense, they're going to keep the top-rated drivers. You just have to think about it from a company's standpoint. There is no business out there operating without profit in mind. If there are, then they're probably a charity, and we know that those waters are already muddled. For what it's worth, as an aside, you can take a look. Goodwill is considered a charity. So just think about recent technological advances. I mean, you can even look at your phone. We used to require standalone GPS units. Now everything is done in the palm of your hand. This little piece of technology is more powerful than the computers that sent people into space. So guys, like I say, proceed with a cautious step. Whether it's the companies, the lawyers, the politicians, other drivers, proceed with caution. Stay safe out there when you go to work, guys. Be good, do well, let's go make some money.